are Orc Arrer Boyz, and a good and past 6.0.3. Someone asked me about this unit, and I'm happy to oblige, having bitterly fought them since Total War Warhammer 1. There's a few things to know about the unit that matter for your use of them out in the field. That comes down to stats, because raw mechanics generally won't help them mid-battle. So let's take a good look at these hybrid combatants. Recruited for 500 gold and 125 upkeep. This gets you 90 hybrid combatant orcs on ultra scale with 6,930 health between them. Armor is 30, a very ordinary amount. Leadership of 55 is a little shaky, speed 31 and charge speed 39 are nothing special. Melee attack 23 with attack interval 3.9 are indeed decent, but no more. There is no splash melee damage. Melee defense of 14 combined with weapon strength 34, split between base damage 26 and armor piercing 8, establish the first of two key truths about the unit I wanted to take from this video. In melee, they can dish it out to some extent, but they can't take it. They have jaws of glass. Charge bonus is 10 and mass is 130. For ranged, ammunition of 22 is the old rusty standard used for a lot of units. Range 140 is up there with horse archers and is neither especially good nor awful. Nominal damage is 18, but the real value is base 14 and armor piercing 6 per arrow impact, modified by reload time 11. Now, what else has armor piercing 6 in this game? Take a look. It's Empire crossbowmen, who inflict 4 more base damage, but have a reload time of 13 default. Now, Empire crossbowmen get buffs. New lords and heroes can make it even better, but hold that thought. Total accuracy of 20 is equal to crossbowmen. Calibration distance 85 means they're especially inaccurate past that range, which contrasts to crossbowmen who have longer range to begin with, and calibration area of 4.1 means a lot of spread compared to normal archers. Compared to crossbowmen, it's actually pretty good, but of course this gets worse outside the calibration distance, and there's no arrow penetration past the first target. So, essential truth about Arrer Boyz number 2. Arrer Boyz do more armor-piercing missile DPS than Empire crossbowmen by default. If you're not an old Greenskins hand who's played them back in Warhammer 1, and for that matter even if you are but never checked, you might not know this, and since I was specifically asked to cover this unit, I feel it's a really important thing to convey. Of course, parking any archer unit 75 meters from melee and firing into it would give better results, and so it is here, but you're often dealing with somewhat less ideal circumstances. It's just, you can see from this comparison, Arrer Boyz may be inaccurate compared to Empire archers, but they're not when you compare them to crossbow units. They are essentially a middle option that hit harder in melee, but can't take sustained punishment of any kind. They will crush the Empire crossbowmen in melee, but you'll rarely be in that position, especially due to the foot speed disparity. So let's go to redline skills. Interestingly, we're still using the Boyz for our early skill, providing plus 6 melee attack and plus 12% weapon strength at 3 pips, since this counts as an orc infantry unit, but here the presence of ranged means the ranged buffs apply, adding plus 8% missile damage and plus 8% reload time reduction. This may not look like much, but when you combine the two, that's in fact slightly over plus 16% DPS, at the cost of going through arrows a little faster. Given this is still a 500 gold unit, that's a price you're willing to pay. And since they're orc units, Ard Lads grants Break 7 Arrer Boyz and above, plus 12 armor, plus 5 melee defense, and 8% ward save, and that's some pretty nice stuff if you level some that far. In the tech tree, Better Era Eds grants a modest plus 5% range increase and a less modest plus 10% missile damage increase. Heavy metal is common to orc infantry generally, so that's plus 10 armor and plus 5% melee weapon strength. For scrap upgrades, one is always available, and that's Beta Bows. 30 scrap for a simple plus 20% range buff. Remember how I said range was a sore point? Well, now it's a lot less sore. Accuracy will diminish further, but you will encounter many situations where you just don't care. Scrap Arrer's technology unlocks combat skin sights, which for 55 scrap default provides ammunition plus 20% and reload time reduction minus 15%. Remember my mentioning that ammunition was a sore point with reload time reduction. Now it's ammunition plus 20% versus a total of reload time reduction minus 23% if you're redline spec. That's actually quite formidable. and hopefully you keep these guys productive because their potential is sky high at this point. The final upgrade is specific to bone replicas, and costs 50 scrap. Wizardly Weapons increases melee armor piercing by 6, but that's melee, and this is a ranged hybrid unit, and plus 20% Wiz recharge, or half an Arcane Conduit's worth. It's weird and it's niche. So how do we use Arrer Boyz? Well, I've already laid out why you can't really use them in melee on purpose. They're too slow. You use them in melee if they're out of arrows or something catches them like flagellants, slipping through cracks in the line. You hope it's not something armored like Empire Knights, because they'll have no answer to that in melee. Other than that, you use them to batter units, and I say units because their inaccuracy means good luck firing at an individual dwarf hero, though sometimes it's really your best option to try. It's not fun though. No, anti-unit is where this shines. This kind of DPS also means you'll run out of ammo sooner than you'd like by default, but it fits the orc mentality extremely well. You want your enemies as weak as possible, as fast as possible, so that they can be bashed in the face more effectively. That's exactly what you can expect from Arrer Boyz if they are allowed to do their jobs. Now, of course, the problem is that their armor never escapes the level of middling, so missile duels are not something they should be fighting extensively. Completely aside from things like dark shards with shields existing, Quarlers are built to utterly annihilate this kind of unit. So you have to bring an anti-ranged game in order to exploit these guys. Problem for the other side is that if you do, and you have 5 or 6 of these units just operating without fear or hindrance, they can do shockingly large amounts of damage to an enemy force. It's not enough to carry you, this isn't Handgunner spam, but again, these are 500 gold units. Even if it's a coin flip, if you get your money's worth, your investment isn't high enough that you should be shy about seeing how far you can abuse them. And if you're out of ammo and the other side's out of ammo, get in the other side's face and smash. Why not? And if they're Slayer pirates and only had 6 shots, stay out of melee and shoot them. A lot. Take care, and have fun shredding blobs with lots and lots of crossbow bolts, cosplaying as arrows.